Thank you. So it's okay. We have now a possibility for translation. So for our friends who are speaking the Francophonie. The second question we go ahead is Dr. Ruffini, could you discuss the recent document released by the Dicastery on full presence? Specifically, what recommendation is it offering to Catholics, especially young people, about the ethics of social media usage and digital evangelization?
Yeah, I like very much this document, and not only because we wrote it and using we, because it's not document by me, is only by the dicastery only, is a document that is a fruit of the communion of the church. It was intended to be a document coming from grassroots, and to find together this recommendation, as you were saying, concerning what recommendation especially to the youth. This document, I would say that it can be resumed in just a few sentences. Of course, it has to be read, and because every sentence is important. But the very most important thing that says is that the digital social media are not a continent. They are part of our life, and it's not a matter of colonizing a continent. And we know how many bad fruit can come from colonization. Is a sort of living there, but living as Christians, living as Catholic, and again, it's using these means to weave communion in all our lives, to be fully present in all our lives, and then it can bring to do consequences. One is that anything is weaving division, is building division or hate, is not something that will bring fruit. Too many people, and also too many Catholics are convinced that the presence in social media is the presence of a battle against the others that are enemies. We know that this is not the way Jesus told us, and this regards the social environment as well as our villages, towns, and countries, and continents. We have to testimony the contrary. Is testimony loving one another that we can change things, not hating, not judging, and not acting as maybe the algorithms so easy are conceived too. So this is the first thing. Then the second thing is not to be too much convinced that we are the saviors. In a way of another, we are all as we have to be, and we are humble servants, useless servants, but called to testimony. And called to testimony what? Called to testimony the communion among us together. So if we use the social media in a way that is just how can I say, um, uh, nourishing our ego. Well, there is something that doesn't want. It's not the narcissism. With the narcissism that we will bring so many fruits. Of course, we have to develop and use our talents, but in a communal way. These are, I think, the two very pillars of the document. And the third is something that is under the line, let's say, and is that the matter is not only how to be in this social media, because all of you know better than me, because all of you are younger than me, that social media are evolving day by day. Now we are talking of TikTok, and yesterday we were talking of it more on Instagram, and then we will talk on something we don't know that can be invented. Why not in one of your countries? Is not written anywhere that platforms have to be invented in the United States or China only, but maybe invented in each one of our countries all around the world. And it's up to young people to invent new platform. And maybe there will be a work to do in building new platforms that and a new ethic on algorithms, not to let that everything is conceived like an exploitation of data. We are the data that are mining, and for what? For transforming us in something to be sold or bought, and then it doesn't matter if the news are fake or true, and if we are spreading love or hate, but it doesn't matter how many money will the companies earn. This is a problem. This is a problem. Nothing new under the sky, but everything can be changed. Everything can be changed. So having in mind that we as Catholic can, not we now, but maybe some of you, but maybe some people younger than us can be challenged in understanding that new platform more based on the gratuity of love than on selfishness and just business can be born, giving back to all of us, the people of all over the world, the stakeholder role on this system of communication that is something that has to do with the common good. Good communication is something that we have to defend as a common good, as water, as nature. Good communication of what we are nourished is a common good, and new platforms maybe I don't know. By sure I am unable to do this because I'm too old. But new platform can be born and conceived in a more Christian way, giving back to the word share something more profound, more deep. If my answer are not enough, I please tell me. I can say more, but because the questions are many, I don't want to speak too much to each question.
No, we are good. I just want to know, Stanley, is the translation taking place?
We are working on it.
Yes, je dois faire un peu de traduction de ce que Dr. Ruffini a dit. Je fais un peu de sommaire pour les francophonies. Et Dr. Ruffini a dit que la communication numérique n'est pas colonisatrice. C'est un monde à part entière qui a besoin d'être évangélisé. Tout d'abord, il y a le haine autour de nous. On voit ça toujours par social media et le monde numérique. Nous devons affronter la haine. Ce n'est pas la voie de Jésus, notre Seigneur, le Seigneur de l'amour. La haine n'est pas la voie de Jésus. Nous devons nous aimer l'un les autres, sans être ni juger. Deuxièmement, il ne s'agit pas de prétendre que nous sommes meilleurs que les autres. Et Dr. Ruffini nous a invités à être humble. C'est très important. Mais nous sommes des humbles serviteurs appelés à témoigner de l'amour. Les médias sociaux ne sont pas là pour nourrir notre égoïsme. Ils ne sont pas là pour faire preuve de ce que Dr. Ruffini a dit nazisme. Nous devons utiliser notre talent de manière communautaire. Troisièmement, la manière d'utiliser les médias sociaux est très important. Est très important pour l'Église. Mais cette manière, il évoluait quotidiennement. C'est aux gens d'inventer, inventer de nouvelles formes d'énergie pour construire la nouvelle éthique des algorithmes. Et enfin, l'exploitation de la population. Nous devons aussi affronter l'exploitation de la population par la communication numérique. Autant que catholiques, nous pouvons être mis au défi de surmonter l'égoïsme et l'exploitation. Et la dernière phrase de Dr. Ruffini est très importante pour nous. Il a dit qu'une bonne communication est un bien commun. Good communication is a common good. That's one thing that will stay with me, Dr. Ruffini. Une bonne communication est un bon commun. Comment on fait pour avancer le profond perspective de Dr. Ruffini? Nous devons affronter ça quotidiennement comme digital influencer. So we go to the third question, Dr. Ruffini. You are a pathfinder, a pace setter. The first layman to head an office of the Roman Curia since the reform of the Curia by Pope Sixtus, immediately during the Counter-Reformation, at least in this form. So you have made history. How did you come to this position? The young people of Africa want to know your personal journey, and you are also a humanitarian. Je demandais à Dr. Ruffini pour un peu de son histoire, comment on a fait cet pèlerinage, pèlerinage de la vie personnelle comme un humanitaire, personne qui fait beaucoup pour les pauvres. Mais maintenant, actuellement, comme le chef de bureau de Dicastery de la communication, Dr. Ruffini.
Thank you for this question. It's not easy to answer. It's all my life long, but I will try to say a few words. I was educated in a Catholic school by Jesuits, and then I started to work very young, before getting a university degree that I get it later while working, but it was not on communication at that time. It was on law. So it was supposed to me to be a lawyer, but then I started working in newspapers, and the first newspaper was a Naples newspaper, and then the Rome newspaper. And then it happened to me that to change, and then I was hired as the editor-in-chief of the national radio in Italy, on the editor-in-chief of the news programs, and I was 1996 that this happened. I was 40 years old at that time, and then from that I changed again, and I went to another field very close to the news department, but not anymore the news department, because I was hired as the program director of one of the three channels, public channels of the Italian television, where I was for almost 15 years. So at that time I worked on communication, deciding the programs, and working especially on the news programs of this channel, but also choosing films to broadcast and entertainment programs, and working also on that. And then from that I went to a private television, and then from that it happened to me that I talking with Monsignor that was on charge of communication for the Italian Bishop Conference, that is Monsignor Pompili. I told them what my mother always told to me, that she felt that I was in the wrong place, because she said, "You are a Catholic, you should work on the Catholic communication." Of course, I did many programs also on the Catholicism, on history of the church, on the popes of the 19th centuries, the popes of the media era, let's say, for television and radio and so on, and working on archives. But my mother was so unhappy of this. She said, "You have to," and I said that it is impossible. It's not that easy. But talking with this Monsignor, I at that time I was working on the private television. I said, "Anyway, if you need me, you know where to find me. I'm at disposal of the church. It's not. I'm not. I don't want to candidate myself because you know better than me what you need. But if you need, and 2 years later or 3 years later, something like this, he phoned me and he said, well, but were you joking or were you serious in saying this? Because we should, but we don't know if you will accept to go and work in a smaller television that you are working. And I said, yeah, I was serious. And so I was hired to do the same job for the Italian Bishop Conference, that is TV 2000, maybe some of you knows. And then at that time happened, I knew Pope Francis. And some years later, I really thought at that time that this was my last job. I am not so young anymore. And so I said, well, sooner or later, I should have to retire. And that was my last job. But after 4 years working in this television of the Italian Bishop Conference, I received a call by Pope Francis, and I didn't imagine was in the very first. Pope Francis does this kind of things. I thought it was a joke because I received a call at a phone call, and he said, "I want to talk with you," and he called me to go to Santa Marta, and I had a job interview by the Pope. It was the most difficult, most strange, and most spiritual job interviews I had, and so I answered the question. I said what I know I do, I am able to do, and what not, and so on. And then after a while he recalled me and he said, if you want, we want you to do this job. And so here I am. This is very short, the story, and the first lay, but you know that in every of your dioceses there are lay people and lay men and women working on communication. So maybe the Rome was not so up to date, and that to be, and so it was not so strange to have a baptized, normal baptized, not so genius, not so better than others, but baptized that do this service is a service to gather the Dicastery. It's not something that deal with power. Is a service. Is a difficult service. I was accepted by the other head of Roman Dicasteries as a brother. Helped in what I can do, more or less. Of course, anything can be done better. First of all, the work of our dicastery, and this is what we are trying to do. I think that the most important thing in the church is to rediscover what Jesus said, that we are members one another. We are at the service one another. In the church, there is no who is first and who is last, but and in any case, who wants to be first has to be so humble to serve. And the Pope himself is the servants of the servants of God. So we don't have to conceive the arriving of a layman at the Roman Curia as something that was conquered in terms of power. It's a challenge to all the lay people to serve and to not to say anymore, this is something that is about bishops, cardinals, priests, and then of course we go to mass, we pray, but the church is their affair. No, The church is a communion. The church is a communion. Is an institution because it's a communion, and a communion of people who is serving one another, who are serving one another.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Ruffini. Maintenant, j'invite Likibi de Begarac de Congo-Brazzaville. Likibi, vous avez la parole. Unmute ton micro.
Merci beaucoup. Là, vous m'entendez?
Oui.
C'est bon? Vous m'entendez?
Oui.
Ok. Alors, ma question. Tout d'abord, je vous remercie, docteur, de nous avoir donné encore cette opportunité de parler avec vous ce soir. Et j'avais une question de préoccupation de ma part. Alors, la première question, docteur, à votre avis, quelles stratégies peuvent être utilisées pour promouvoir la compassion et la patience chez les jeunes à travers Allô? Allô?
Yes,
Hello,
we can
hello.
hear you.
I have a problem with my network. Alors, donc, je disais tantôt qu'à travers les plateformes numériques, adaptation du message du Vatican aux différentes cultures dans le monde entier. Ma seconde question est celle de savoir, nous sommes vraiment curieux, docteur, de connaître la perspective du pape François d'Ampère sur la continuité des projets entrepris par le Dicastery que vous gérez d'ailleurs, surtout après cette formation des jeunes influenceurs de la foi. Pour nous éclaircir davantage, quelles pourraient être les prochaines étapes après cette formation? Voilà, je parle ici des stratégies, de la compassion et tout ce que je viens de dire. Merci.
Pardonnez-moi si je réponds en anglais, pas en français. Pourquoi mon français, c'est vraiment limité. Mais merci pour votre question. Et, first of all, I try to answer to the question on the perspective of the project undertaken by the Dicastery and what we are planning to do and maybe in which way this can be something interesting for you. Well, the Dicastery is meant not to be a system in itself, proud of itself, convinced that everything has to be done in Rome by the people, by people from every part of the world, more or less, but based in Rome, because this is a sort of proud way of thinking, so similar to the Babel one, to have a tower, maybe in Rome, maybe in the Vatican, where we speak all the languages, and these many languages become one language, and everything we have to say and has to be known will be said by us. This is not our purpose. This is not our perspective. The perspective on which we are working on is to weave this system of communication together. We in Rome, and you in Brazzaville, or maybe in Kinshasa, maybe Freetown, maybe in Burkina Faso, maybe wherever in the world, we should find a way together, because we alone, by sure, will fail. And you alone will fail, everyone along, but together, and the digital era and the technologies and artificial intelligence and the possibility of connection that are enhancing day after day, can permit us to weave this sort of ecosystem of communication, where Catholic communicators and journalists are all around the world in a network that no one has, neither the more powerful platform of nowadays, neither Elon Musk, neither Mark Zuckerberg, no one has the power of the communion we are or should be. No one has this presence on the territories that have or should be or should have. So our purpose is that, and that this is very, very, very and strongly connected with the Church truly synodal, and is very strongly connected to the Jubileum that is coming. So we have two important events that are coming, ecclesial events that can be something that will push us out of our comfort zones to weave together and offer to the world this system of communication. If we work on it, I think we can find, through the generosity of the donors and the generosity of people of God all around the world, also the money to weave this system. We are so many all around the world, and we have vision, and we have the capability through the gospel to read the story, the history that we are passing through, and to give to anything, to the wars that are in your continent and in Europe and the Middle East and wherever, a different perspective to be resolved in a peace process, and so on. We have the economy to be resolved in a just process, and we have education challenges. Anything deals with communication, and what the Dicastery is focused on for the next years is to do as much as we can to convince all around the world, young people and not only, to work on this together. This concerning the question on the perspective. Concerning the question on promoting compassion and patience and connecting young people, challenging young people, on this, I think that it's not only a matter of doing this on the digital platforms as if the digital platforms are something divided from the world. If we work in this way, I think we miss the focus. Digital platforms are meant to connect people. Then people connected has to act together. Where? On the digital platform, but not only on digital platform. In all their life, in all they do. When I was in Africa, I was in Nigeria for the anniversary of SEPAX a few months ago. I watched on television something that maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, please tell me. I watched on television something that it didn't sound me well. A documentary on how the Oculus of metaverse can spread culture in Africa with the there was 2 or 3 young boys with the Oculus, and they were moving as they were seeing something that was in the Oculus and not in the reality. Of course, nothing against the metaverse, nothing against any technology, but we have to we have to change the world and the ecosystem where we are living, our common home, our countries, in the reality, and not only in the metaverse or in the virtual dimension. Because if we are confined in the virtual dimension, we will lose the concreteness of the life. We are soul and body, and our body live on the heart and in the physical space. So we have to work on both the dimension that the digital era offers us.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Ruffini. Maintenant, j'invite Roger du Burkina Faso à poser sa question. Roger, vous avez la parole. Roger.
Roger, can you mute yourself? It's your turn.
Yeah, yes. Yes, it's okay now. Voilà. Alors, merci encore au docteur Paolo. Comme disait mon frère Likibi, pour l'occasion effectivement qui nous est donnée d'échanger avec lui. Alors, ma question est relative au challenge que vous avez, en tant que patron donc de la communication du Saint-Siège, notamment les challenges que vous avez c'est la première question. Et je pense que je me limite là parce que l'autre question a été prise en compte. Merci encore. Et pour la compréhension que nous avons en tant que
Yeah, so Roger is asking Dr. Ruffini some of the challenges you face in your work. We have problem with connection. So that's his question.
Okay. Thank you, Roger. Thank you. I'm very close to Burkina Faso because one of my official in the Dicastery comes from there, and so you always talk about your country, and so I have never been there, but I'm very fond of your story, and I'm happy to answer you. Concerning the everyday challenges, well, there are many and every day different. But if I can simplify, I can say that generally speaking, the most what is most challenging is, excuse me if I repeat myself, but this working on weaving communion is a difficult task because we are human. There are every day you can imagine in a community of more than 500 people from so many countries. It's not easy, and then in the Roman Curia it's not easy. So, but it's challenging. It is something that you feel better if you are successful in doing a little step every day on this. But in terms of professional work, one of the most difficult challenges was, by sure, for example, to the synod on synodality was something difficult to explain to the media. They were expecting specific answer on specific question that were not the focus of the synod, and so we had to explain that talking about synodality, that is talking about how the church can find a way of taking decision together without without canceling the different roles of one another. So it's a difficult process to combine authority and sharing, to combine the laity with the clerics, not to divide, to weave this unity. And to explain this was difficult. Also because the Pope said, and this was he was right in that. Even maybe someone didn't agree and understand that a moment of silence is needed in every decision we take. So we had to combine the silence and the disclosing of news. This was a challenge. Or other challenges when there are some crises that the church has. It is normal. It is normal. We are not in the heaven. We are on the earth, and we know that we every day in our personal life we have a struggle between evil and good in ourselves. We have. So why don't we? Should we not have in the church? But when bad things happen, we have to be truthful. We have to be accountable. And this is not easy, of course, but also we have to explain, this is my opinion, that anything can be redeemed, anything. This is the reason why Jesus came. and he was crucified, but then he resurrected. And so the good has already won on the evil. And the God has already won on the devil. And so anything that has happened bad can be anything in the history of the humanity and the history of the church can be redeemed by the goodness of God and by the work of the man in this earth. So the narration we have to do when we maybe have to narrate some fault of the church or some fault of people of the church, maybe of important people, bishops, priests, nuns, lay, has to be narrated as something that can happen and can be redeemed by our efforts, because the history is not ended and we have to work to a good end. This is another thing. And the difficulty of my day-by-day life is how to combine the effort of the different dicasteries in communication, because the Roman Curia is so big, and they have to coordinate the delivery of information by one dicastery instead of the other. And this is a day-by-day challenge to decide when the conference on this, when the conference press conference is this, when the press conference is that, when a press release, when not a press release, but something that can be said in a more informal way, when an article on Vatican News, what about articles on Osservatore Romano that can go deeply on understanding decisions of the church, or interpreting event, and so on and so on. So every day we have meetings, we have discussions. Not every day we agree on everything, so we have to find an agreement, praying also on this, and sharing our thoughts in a fraternal and communal way. This is the way we work. And if your question, if we are successful every day, no. If the question is, so we are unsuccessful every way, no. We are on the way every day, and working in the way I tried to say before, in a community, to make less mistakes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruffini, and very striking line from your response. Everything can be redeemed. What a statement of faith, that everything can be redeemed. So Jesus can redeem our story, and that is what we are celebrating at this time of Lent, to allow God to come in the desert of our life to redeem us. We had advertised this encounter to last for 1 hour, and we like to keep to that 1 hour. So I'm going to ask you, brothers and sisters, for us to go to the last question from Tandeka, and your questions, Basil from Kenya and Kyoko from Kenya as well, and the second question from you, Roger. These questions, we ask you to post them on the chat room, and these questions have already been sent to Dr. Ruffini, and some of these questions you post on the course platform. So the responses that will come from Dr. Ruffini, we will share with everyone on the course platform, because we need to stay to time. So I will ask Tandeka from Swaziland to ask the last question, and then I will come back with a very important question from all the students as well as the church in some of the bishops, the question they are asking us to pose to you, Dr. Ruffini. So Tandeka from Swaziland, the floor is yours. Yeah, Tandeka, we are not hearing you. Tandeka? I can read her question. Dr. Ruffini, could you elaborate on how your organization navigates the challenges of ensuring authenticity and inclusivity while encouraging individuals to reflect God's style on social media platforms, considering the diverse cultural and religious context involved?
Yeah, I can give this this answer. Our system is conceived of not to be not only translating what I'm saying, for example, today, but having people of every continent, culture, languages, countries to help our system of communication to be a system founded on people, men, women, lay, religious, priests, nuns. And so this is a way of inculturating. But first of all, I would say that sometimes it's said that the focus and the goal of the Christianity, of Catholicism, is to evangelize the cultures. In my mind, and this is not the way we are working. In my mind, this is something that comes from the past, where some things were good and some not, but comes from the past of the colonialism. You can colonize a culture, but Christianity, Catholicism, is based on a true encounter of each one with Jesus. So what we have to share with the world is not a culture, is an encounter. And then in this encounter, everyone will build in his culture something that will become the unity of Catholicism. We cannot have many Catholicism as many cultures and languages we have. At the same time, we cannot have a monolith. This is the reason why the Pope so often used the word poliedro. There's I don't know the word in English, is a figure, a geometric figure with so many faces, but one object. So this is, I think, my answer on combining authenticity, inclusivity, and sharing what? Sharing the Christian perspective, sharing the Catholic perspective, and doing this way, each one can learn from the others. I think that we from Europe has to learn so much from African culture so much in terms of being one. And of course, this is not that in Africa there are also been wars, there has also been bad things, many that came from us, and many others that came because all of us have the original sin wherever we were born, and so on. But any culture can teach to the others. But the teachment where we found the answer to every question is the Jesus one, that can speak all our languages and can speak to us and rediscover in our personal histories, in our cultural histories, in our countries, what we can put in this unity of Christianity, and also in this interreligious dialogue, I think this is the way we should work on, and we are trying to. Of course, we need suggestions also. So if you have, they will be very welcomed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruffini. Thank you also for the wisdom and the spiritual depth that you have shared with us. And thank you for joining with our young people in Africa and for believing in Africa and saying that the church has a lot to learn from Africa. And these young men and women, they ask this fundamental question. It's also a question that some of the bishops ask. Okay, after our training, how will the Dicastery and the church universal and the local church, how will they help us to use what we have learned to serve God and the church? I know that there is all the graduates will meet in Uganda in August. That's where they receive their certificate. Each student will start developing a project they will do, a service project for the church in order to act in their local setting. And they ask all the questions, how are we going to be supported to do that? Some of the students, when we asked them this week, why didn't you complete their assignment? So I have no data, or we have internet problems. And so they ask this question, how can we be helped? And above all, at the end for our service project, how can we be helped to do the good we are thinking of as young people for God in the spirit of Pope Francis's Evangelii Gaudium?
Okay. First of all, let me say that I will try to give also written answers so that you can find to the one that were not posed and to the one that was posed. I will try to give you written answers so that it can be maybe useful to each one of you. Concerning what can the Dicastery do to help, I think that we should try to build projects together, or maybe in your countries, in your churches, to be up to date with what's going on in communication, and maybe if we are able, and I think we should be and we can be, to offer to the world that is so thirsty of truth something new. Together we can, together we maybe raise money to do it. This is the biggest challenges we have, and on this way you will find the Dicastery always on your side. Then, of course, to be also concrete, maybe the Dicastery has to hire someone one time or the other, but the Dicastery is not so big as as maybe sometimes someone thinks, and maybe it's too big also, because I think it's times have changed from the ones that everything had to be done in the same place. So maybe it's time to found hub of good communication in each of your country, and together raise money from donors to help us in doing this. And from donors doesn't only mean that we find a very, very, very healthy, rich person who will pay for the eternity, but to work to build together a system that will have many, maybe little donation as with crowdfunding from all over the world, from African people and from European people, to helping Africa and helping one another, and rich people and poor people. But if we give to the people of God all over the world the role of stakeholder, as I said before, this is possible. Is not the solution of today. Maybe it's not of tomorrow, but it's something we have to work on it. So the problem is to work on it. And the other thing, let me say, because now I'm talking with professionals, don't consider the communication something only for professionals, not only for professionals, because communication is something where everyone is involved, and everyone has to help professionals to do the professional communication, and everyone has to work on the platform in a non-professional way, but spreading the truth, and not something they don't know where it does come from, and this is true or is fake, or so on and so on. Working on formation is important, because communication deals with everyone. But the Dicastery will be always interested in having people from the different countries, as it does, and so maybe from one of you, or others from countries of Africa. We have from many of your countries of your continent working for a period, because is a turnover, is continuous turnover. So submitting a candidate to the website of the Holy See. There is a website for candidates, and where we publish vacancies of professional figures. But beside that can regard a few, at least a few, in a continent so wide and with so many people, is a problem of having a good system of communication, Catholic communication, non-Catholic communication in your countries, in all the continent, and working to share the truth. This is the most important thing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruffini, and thank you, brothers and sisters. We have come to the end of our session today. Meet with the Prefect, Dr. Paolo Ruffini. I'll now invite the coordinator of the program, Sister Josephine Bakita, to formally thank the Prefect and give us some concluding remarks. Thank you, everyone, again, for your patience and for your attention. I'm sure we learned a lot today through the Prefect and we praise God for that. Sister Josephine, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Father. On my behalf and on behalf of my team working to coordinate this special training, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for making this day a success. In a special way, I want to thank Dr. Paolo Ruffini, the Prefect of Dicastery Communication Vatican, for taking his time, for sacrificing to discuss in an elaborate manner the questions that our candidates had posted. Together with your secretary, Natasha, thank you so much for the love that you have for us. We now know that you have us at heart. And we pray that whatever we have started, the good Lord may continue blessing it and it may bring it to a success. Allow me also to thank all the priests who are in here. Thank you so much, Father Stan, for being a good moderator this evening. Thank you so much, Father Ali Nemeka, for being our interpreter. You are always available for us whenever we call for your help. Last but not least, I also want to thank all the candidates who have sacrificed their time, their little bundles. As Father mentioned it, a number of them have been asking if we would support them with a little data or bundle so that they're able to be present, especially during the Zoom, and to take their training. So thank you so much, dear candidates. I'm so much pleased and humbled that you are honestly going through the training as we requested, and we know that at the end of the day, everything will be a success. Continue taking your training with a lot of seriousness because you never know where this is going to take you. You've heard with your ears what Dr. Paolo Ruffini has shared with us this evening. So take it upon yourself, go through the training. If you have any challenge, kindly reach out to us. We are here to support you to continue journeying with you until the end of your training. Whatever has taken place today, this discussion will continue apart from the monthly meeting, Zoom. We shall also have such discussions whenever we have knowledgeable individuals like what Dr. Paolo Ruffini has shared with us this evening. I know there are also other priests who are here with us, who are journeying with us. Father Jane is here. Father Alec is here. Thank you so much for accompanying us this evening. From my side, I want to let it be the end of our discussion today as I leave you with the two words that I've picked from Dr. Paolo Ruffini, that everything can be redeemed. And also good communication is a common good. Thank you so much. May God bless us. Father Stan.
Yes, thank you. We shall conclude with a song, and that will be a blessing. Roger, tu peux m'aider à chanter Rendons grâce au Seigneur car il est bon. Tout le monde, nous chantons ensemble. We sing a very nice French song that says, "Let us give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. Rendons grâce au Seigneur, car il est bon." On y va. Roger.
Ok.
Grâce au Seigneur, car il est bon. Rendons grâce au Seigneur, car il est bon. Rendons grâce au
Seigneur, car il est bon.
Son amour. Encore. Rendons grâce au Seigneur. Everyone, let us give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. Rondons
grâce au Seigneur, car il est bon.
Rendons
Grâce au Seigneur, car il est bon. Éternel est son amour.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. And with this, we have come to the end of our session, and we glorify the Lord in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Bye. Bye.